Welcome to the Teddy Hayes Crime Fiction Writing Course. Hello. Today I want to talk about crime fiction for different age groups. Now, a lot of people come to me and say, I like crime fiction. I want to write crime fiction, but I don't want to write anything heavy. I want to do something, maybe a children's book. And uh, would your writing class work for me? My answer is yes. And I'll tell you why. I'll tell you a story that happened uh, to me, and you'll see what I'm talking about. Okay, some time ago, I was giving a writing class in London, a weekly writing class, and you go to the class every week and you meet students and they show you their stuff. So one week, a woman came in and she was reading her something she had written, and I thought it was fantastic. And she came back the next week and brought some more of her writings and read them, and terrific again. So we got to talking after the class, and she says, "I would like to write a book." She says, "But I don't know how to start." I says, "Well, you know, if you go and do what I tell you to do, you could do it." She said, "But I don't have the confidence." I said, "Look," I said, "I think you're really a good writer. I think you have a lot of potential. So let me suggest something. Uh, I have a children's book," I told her, "that I was thinking of writing, and I wanted a female point of view because one of the characters, a few of the characters were female characters, and I didn't think I had enough insight to write the female characters like I wanted them to be written." So I says, "Well, maybe you could work with me on this book." She says, "Okay, I'll try it." So that's what we did. We started working together. Her name was Joy Swanson. And we started step by step. And the first thing we did is I kind of outlined a story of where I thought the story might go. And she talked about her ideas, and maybe we could do this or maybe we could do that. And then we incorporated her ideas into my outline, my original outline. So the next thing we decided is we had to decide is, okay, what kind of story do we want this to be? Do we want this to be a story for large adolescent children, or do we want the story to be for a younger age group? Okay, we decided that we go for kind of adolescence. So then we say, okay, let's talk about the elements of the story. Now, what does that mean? Do we want this story to be realistic? Do we want this story to be a fantasy? So we decided on a fantasy. We wanted magic in this story, and we wanted animals. So the next thing we decided is that, okay, if we want magic and we want animals, then we'll need a place for those animals and magic to exist. So therefore, we had to create a place, and we decided upon a forest, a magic forest, and we called this forest the Magi Muku Forest. And then we kind of started thinking. We said, okay, what if we had different characters to do this or do that? And then we created the Magimuku characters. And then we came up with our protagonist hero, who was a flying elf. And then we added other characters like an adolescent witch and an intellectual bear and a rapping rhino and a demon dog. And all of these characters were part of the outline that we created. We started fitting them in. The next thing we did is we started to think about, okay, we have this Magimuku forest, but how does it really look if we want to have something happening in one part of the forest versus another part of the forest? So what we did is we actually went and we designed a map of the Magimuku forest. Map. This is where this happens. This is where this happens. And I think my favorite part of the map was the place where the baddies lived, called the Dismal Swamp. So the baddies were in the Dismal Swamp, and some of the other characters were more in the centralized part of the Majimuku Forest. Okay, so we started working on this project, and it took about 9 months back and forth. And at first, Joy didn't have very much confidence. But as I taught her the tools of writing, she became more confident. And we'd start with one chapter, two chapters, three chapters. But by the time we got into about the fifth or sixth chapter, she was well on her way, and she was bringing ideas and said, well, we could do this and we could do that and we could do this and that. And that was great. And at the end of about 9 months, we had ourselves a book, a proper book. And I was so pleased with it. And we were very lucky to get invited to a literary festival they were having here in London. And at the literary festival, they read some of the book and they played some music to accompany the reading and everything. So that was really good. And at that reading, someone came up to me and says, have you ever considered doing something for younger children? Because as I said, this was for mostly adolescents. Uh, and I said, no, I really hadn't considered it. And maybe I will, I said. So I started to kind of think along these lines, and I mentioned it to Joy. But as fate would have it, Joy decided that she was going to move to Norway, which she did. And she moved to Norway, so I continued alone. So I decided that I would continue along the lines using some of the same characters we had created for the book. So I took what originally started out as major characters, but along the way, as Joy and I were writing, they became minor characters. So I'm thinking, okay, I could take these two minor characters and make them the main characters in this new version of a Magimuku book for younger people. And that's what I did. So I didn't want to come up with a story that was heavy with killing or anything. So I decided I would come up with a story that was kind of a moral tale, talking about the things that young people need to know about. You know, how not to lie, how not to deceive your friends, how to appreciate the people who help you and do good things in the world. So, okay, that's what I came up with. I came up with the story about a fox who comes in and tries to deceive different animals in the Majimoku forest, and eventually the intellectual bear saves the day. Now, when the intellectual bear saves the day and saves the forest and everything, his friend, the rapping rhino, who happens to be blue, by the way, because we just thought a blue rapping rhino would be fun. And so the blue rapping rhino commemorates his friend's victory and saving the forest by creating a song for him that is called Do the Bear Dance. And the rapping rhino sings this song to all the other animals in the forest. And here is how it sounds. Do the bear dance.
Deep in the forest, deep in the forest.
He vows to keep the forest clean, stop factories acting like a smoke machine, cutting trees down to build a town of steel and glass with no animals around. You love our forest, so show your care. Vote for the environmental friendly bear. Everybody hands up in the air. Get your growl on, dance like the bear.
Do the bear dance. Do the bear dance. Do the bear dance.
He loves animals, he'll protect us. Don't have to worry, he won't neglect us. Our forest is precious to the planet. The value you can't take for granted. Animals around the globe will benefit from the way we roll. Show your support, this is your chance. Growl like a bear, do the bear dance.
Do the bear dance. Do the bear dance. Do the bear dance.
So now that you know how to do the bear dance, um, let's talk about how, if you want to do a children's book and you want to use kind of a crime fiction story to go along with that, how that can be done. So think about this. If you want to do a children's book or a book for young adolescents or a fantasy book, you can still use the same crime fiction writing tools that are being taught in the course. Happy writing. The best crime writers are crime readers. So please go to the Amazon site and buy any Devil Barnett novel. Thank you.